is on Friday over this topic right here. All right, now it's just one topic pretty much, and then what happens is we're going to do a few word problems. All right, again, it's not difficult. All right, if you're good at factoring, this is really what? Easy. If you're not good at factoring, this is a nightmare.
Okay.
All right, so please, you're supposed to get better. All right, by the end of the week, you should be masters of solving quadratics. All right, I need your eyes up now. Listen carefully. All right, and I'm sure everybody will know this, but take a look at this question right here. Everybody look up on the board. Look up, look up, look up. Here is the question. If I said this, if I said A times B equals 0, what has to be true? If I said A times B is 0, what has to be true? One of them has to be 0. Can both of them be 0? Yes. So he is correct. Either A has to equal 0 or B has to equal 0. That's what we're talking about. All right. Now, how does that apply for today? All right. Watch how it applies. All right. I'm going to scroll down here, or I'm going to go back up to the very top here. I did the odds with the other class, so tonight if you're having trouble, you want to double check yourself, you can listen to the other class. But right now, it is very simple if you know how to do what? Factor. All right? So the only difference between this week and last week is that it is set equal to what? It is set equal to 0. That's the only difference. All right, so we're going to factor first. All right, so let's try factoring. Again, with 6, we're going to try what? 2 and 3 probably. So we're going to go with 2x and 3x. But what's the problem with that?
You can't do 12.
You can't do 12. What about 3 and 4?
You can do that.
I can put 3 where?
With the 2.
With the 2. All right, some of you guys had trouble even with that. Now, do the smiley faces. 9 and 8 makes what? 17 if they're both positive. So here's what I got now, guys. Look carefully. That's the next step. Anybody have any questions with that factoring? Anybody have any questions with that factoring? And again, listen, put everything away and concentrate on what I'm saying. I promise I'm not up here saying it's simple, trying to insult you or make you feel bad. I am not. I'm trying to show you that it's just a pattern. Once you recognize the pattern, you see the patterns, everybody agree the factoring is much easier. You should. Right? And you're supposed to make a couple careless mistakes. There's a lot of different factoring there. All right? It was kind of tricky. All right? No, you're concentrating right here with me. All right? Now, after I've done that, all right, the only thing different now we're doing is we're setting the individual factors equal to 0. So watch what I'm telling you now. Underneath that, you're going to write 2x plus 3 equals 0. 3x plus 4 equals 0. Is everybody with me on that? So now, my answer is x can equal negative 3/2, or x can equal what? Negative 4/3. Now, I had some people last class kind of struggle with solving a two-step equation. You understand, if you're having trouble solving a two-step equation, I'm not sure how you're going to solve a quadratic. You understand what I'm saying on that, right? So again, I'm going to go slow motion just to make sure. All right, so 2x plus 3 equals 0. Minus 3 minus 3. 2x equals negative 3. Divide by 2, divide by 2. X equals negative 3/2. Do you understand that now? Just to be sure. Do I want you to do that? No. Of course not. That's like in your brain. That's the basic. Very, very, very basic. Is everybody with me on the two-step equation? Right? Now, just to make sure I'm not crazy, look at 3x plus 4 equals 0. you're supposed to move the 4 over and then divide by 3. So it's negative 4 divided by 3, which is the fraction negative 4/3. Anybody have an issue with that? All right, now because we're coming up on the ERBs, all right, you're supposed to be able to check your work. In order to check my work, I would simply take this answer, negative 3/2, and I would substitute in for that x and substitute in for that x. And when I do that, what's it going to equal?
0.
It's going to equal 0 for those of you guys who understand what I'm doing. I'm simply trying to find the numbers that satisfy that equation. All right, is everybody with me on that? All right, what?
How do you know which x is 2 different sizes? How do you know which one is correct?
They're both correct.
Just pick one.
Normally in the past, there's always been only what?
One.
One solution. Now we're becoming more advanced. If you have x squared, how many solutions are there?
2,
If you have x cubed, how many solutions?
3,
X to the 4,
4.
4 solutions. It's called the fundamental theorem of algebra. The power tells you the number of zeros or the number of solutions. Do you hear me? All right, because this is a quadratic, there has to be 2 solutions. All right, so what is a solution? A solution is simply a number that satisfies that equation. Do you understand what I just said? All right, now I'm going to try to show you that I'm correct. All right, because I'm going to substitute in negative 3/2. All right, now the only reason I'm doing this is because we're practicing our fractions, we're getting used to, or we're getting ready for the ERBs, and they might ask you about adding and subtracting fractions. You're going, wow, I don't remember doing that for 2 years ago. All right, so now you're trying to review. Not use a calculator, but you're trying to see if you understand what I'm saying. So, watch. 6 times negative 3/2 squared plus 17 times negative 3/2 plus 12 had better equal what? 0. Does it look like it's 0? Probably not.
No.
But we're going to find out. All right? So this would be 6 times 9/4 plus, well not plus, but minus 51/2 plus 12 equals 0. Is everybody okay with that? What is 6 and 4? That reduces to a 3, and that reduces to a 2. 3 times 9 is, so I have 27/2 minus 51/2 plus what? 24/2. Now how did I get 24/2? Because if I have 12 holes, I have what? 24/2. Everybody agree with that? And guess what? 27 minus 51 plus 24, what is that?
Probably
Stay
0.
with me. I know you are. I know it's frustrating, okay? So you got to trust me on this. Stay with me is more important. Trust me. Trust me. Trust me. 0. 0 over 2. Everybody agree with that? What's 27 plus 24? 51. 51 minus 51. 0 divided by 2. 0. So is that a correct answer?
Yeah.
Yes. Now, what do you think is going to happen if I plug in negative 4/3? It's going to end up as a what? 0. Is everybody with me on that? If you've done your arithmetic correctly, that will be the correct answer. All right, why are there 2 answers? Because it's called a quadratic, or something to the second power. Everybody comfortable with that explanation?
Yes.
All right, so if you are great at factoring, this is what? Simple. If you didn't do as well in your factoring, I've got 3 more days to fix that. And like I said, guys, I can't help you if you're not sitting there going, man, give me a little help on there. All right, I'm showing you how to do it. If you're not sure, speak up. All right, do not be shy. Your grade is too important to let your feelings interfere with it. All right, I mean it. All right, I'm on question 4 now. All right, we're going to break down 10x squared into what? 5x and 2x. Here we go. 5x and 2x. The only factors of 2 are, so I'm going to put the 2 where?
On the far side.
On the left and the 1 on the right. Now I do my quick little smiley faces. 4 and 5 makes 1 if the 5 is Notice I said the 5 is positive. So I put the positive on the right side. And the 4 would be negative, so that gives me the negative 4. Is everybody happy with that explanation? All right, now, this, because you guys are outstanding, here's where I'm asking you to look up now and make sure you understand me. Look up, look up, look up. This is what I'm expecting from everybody. Now, if you can't do this, you just raise your hand and say, just show me one more time, and I promise you I'll get it. Look up. Look up, look up, look up. Your teacher's going to freak out when you go to high school and you can just tell them this is the answer. They're going to say, show your work, show your work. All right, I'm going to say, I don't have to show my work on a two-step equation. All right, I would want you to say x is 2/5 or x equals negative 1/2, and you're done. Do you understand that? Now, of course, I could draw that out and make you say 5x minus 2 equals 0. And then you add 2. Then you divide by 5. Boring. If you don't know that, you're back to the first day of class. You should be able to do a two-step equation quickly. Now, if you're going, man, I thought it was plus, or I don't know why it's 5, then let me know so I can clear it up for you. Anybody have any objections to that? All right, let's see. Let's have the fun continue. All right, number 6. How am I breaking down 15? All right, let's see what you can do, guys. 5x, 3x, factors of 6. Where am I putting the 3? On the left. 2 goes on the, I'm checking myself, 9 and beautiful. I want the 10 to be what? Positive. I want the 9 to be setting it equal to 0. Don't forget to do that. That's an important step. So now, Walker, what's my answer?
Your answer is x equals 3/5 or x equals negative 0.
I am brilliant. Thank you, Walker. Anybody have any arguments with that, or complaints, or I'm not 100% sure, or show me that again? Anything. Some of you guys are so shy for some reason. You think I'm going to, break your knuckles or something if you give me a wrong answer. Bite your head off. Yeah, that's not a possibility. I wish it was, but it's not. All right? Yes, I agree. I wish we were back in the old days where I could just come smack your knuckles a couple times. All right? All right. Now, look at number 8. What's the problem with number 8? What do you mean I have to reduce it? I have to divide everything through by 3. All right? I have to divide. Now, I could factor out a 3, but here's what I'm trying to show you. If you see a common factor, divide out that common factor. Notice, the factor is a constant, though. There's no variable involved. All right? So now I end up with what?
X squared plus 11x plus 10.
Now we're going to factor that.
Double.
Come on, guys, tell me.
X plus 1.
And then x equals?
You don't have to write like the.
That's how you do that.
Okay.
The reason why I'm dividing out the 3 is because it's not a variable. Because the 3 is not a variable, it's a what? Constant. Everybody okay with this?
Yep. All
right. Now I'm telling you, I looked at your grades, guys. I know what your test scores are. I can't help you if you're not willing to say, hey, show me what, I'm not sure what that was, or how'd you get that? All right, number 10 should be really simple. How am I factoring that, please?
Plus 7x minus 1.
Now, hold up a second. Any questions? So, x equals? Beautiful. Everybody with me? Easy, easy, easy. All right. Number 12 now. A little bit harder, but not that bad. All right. Let's do it here. Hold up a second. $15 more seconds. Come on. If you're already done, go down to 14. All right. What does that factor to? Go. Hold on a minute. And then what?
Or sorry, X. X.
Don't care. Is that correct?
Yes.
Everybody good with that? All right, I'm giving you time now. Not letting people scream out the answer that's annoying. So there's no excuse. Now you should be able to tell me.
X equals 4.
Or X equals what? Shh, no one's asking you. Speak up loud and proud. I got a microphone over here trying to pick up your voice. Not that one. All right. All right, 14, we got a problem. All right, so we got to think back. All right. The issue is the x minus 7 and the 7 minus x, so I must factor out a what? A negative. When I factor out the negative, the minus becomes a positive. So come on, guys. 3x, open parentheses, x minus 7 plus 2 times x minus 7 equals 0. My expectation is that's easy. If you don't see it, you got to talk now.
Why does the 7 have, why is the X? Oh, okay, I know. Why do you have to, oh, because
Come on, you guys are asking me a question, you're answering your own question, which is fantastic. Daniel.
why do you, the only thing the second one that makes you change to negative?
Doesn't that make sense? Why would I change the first one? If I change the first one, then they won't match up. You agree? All right, you good with that now, Daniel? Tell me.
Why do you
When you factor out a negative, what do you do to both signs? No. When you factor out a negative, you change the signs. Do you agree with me on this? Right? So watch me now. This 7 became what? Negative 7. This negative x became what? You understand me now, right? When you factor out a negative, the signs change. It's like distributing a negative. Negative times a negative is positive. Okay, and you good over there? All right. So now, finish it for me. What do I got? Is not an answer. Whoa, whoa, tell me what the finished factored form is. What are we talking about here? It's not finished being factored. I don't want the final answer. I want it factored out completely. What does it factor to? Somebody help him. 3x plus 2 times x minus 7. Beautiful. You understand that, right? You want to help him out? Final answer? Sure. X equals? Loud and proud. Good. Easy. Any question? Oh boy. Number 16. Looks hard, but we know it's easy because there's 4 terms.
Oh, wait, the factor by grouping.
So we must do factor by grouping. So how am I going to factor that? Miss Vitello. Beautiful so far. And then what?
Negative 3 x
Brilliant. Beautiful. So x equals 4 or yes. Usually doesn't happen, but sometimes it does. You can have multiple variables in the same problem. You can have multiple variables in the same problem. Does everybody agree that wasn't that bad? All right, let's see how we're doing with question 18. Now, what can I divide everything through by here, please?
4.
4. So you should be able to just write divide by 4, divide by 4, divide by 4. So x squared minus 9 equals 0. Factoring that.
X minus 3, x plus 3.
So x could equal.
X could equal 3 or x could equal negative 3. What? Wait. Negative. Why did I write 2? I wrote 2. I meant negative 3.
All right, x equals 3
Out of the loop.
or x equals negative 3. All right, now, listen, I agree with you. That wasn't hard. All right, now, number 20. Somebody tell me how many solutions we have on 20.
4.
4. Why is it 4?
Because there's
The exponent is 4. The fundamental theorem of algebra says the largest exponent gives you the number of solutions. So in this case, there are 4 solutions, so we have to factor this properly. I should factor that into what?
x squared. I just got there. Mr. Strong comes up with these. Oh, x squared. X squared minus 9, x squared plus 1. See, it's minus 1, Zoe.
Thank you. So again, so far we have x squared minus 9 and x squared minus 1.
Factor more.
So now we get to factor more. I can tell you're excited, so that factors too.
X minus 3, x plus 3. And then x minus 1, x plus 1. Really something like x.
So again, here is where we get our 4 solutions.
Oh.
X is equal to, now watch guys, look up.
Oh, don't you just love this?
So again, a little bit quicker way to write the solution. If 1's 3 and negative 3, you can write it as plus or minus 3. All right? Or x is equal to plus or minus 1. Anybody have any questions? Yes. It's efficiency.
really.
It has nothing to do with lazy. It's efficiency. Correct. All right, 22. Here we go. For 22, that should be an easy one to factor quickly. X minus 5 times x plus 4. So your answer is x equals, or x equals negative 4. Beautiful.
2.
All right, now put a little star by number 24 for a quick second. All right. Hey. Listen, let's get done. All right. Now, the nice thing about number 24 is it's already what? It's already solved. So it's already, I shouldn't say solved, but factored. So my answer is x equals, so x equals negative 3 or x equals 8.
Okay.
All right. Next, I have my solutions for 26. X equals 0. Everybody see the x out in front? So how many solutions are there? 3. Because there are 3 x values. Come on, now listen, stop making a big deal about this. All right, look out in front. There's an x in front. So x could be 0. Or x could be what? Or x could be what? 8/7. That is correct. Now again, just to make sure you're understanding me, this x equals 0 comes from that x. Next, we have x equals negative 1/4 comes from that equation. And then last, x equals 7/8 or 8/7 comes from that equation. All right, you should be able to see that. That's not that big of a deal. All right, everybody good? All right, so now factoring 28 should be easy for us.
Easy.
So that becomes what?
X plus 3. X minus 2. X minus 2.
So x is equal to
X negative 3 minus 3. Oh wait, x equals 4. X equals positive 2.
yes, x equals negative 3 or x equals 2.
That was like a millisecond behind.
All right, now stop talking now, girls. So now listen again. I'm picking up the pace a little bit. All right, so you should be a good review of the factoring. Is everybody okay with that?
Yeah.
All right, now 30. This is a new type of problem because we haven't factored out a GCF. Now, granted, we could divide by 2, but we cannot divide by a variable. Hear what I just said?
Yes.
You cannot divide by a variable. So in this case, we're going to factor out the GCF. When I factor out the GCF, you should be able to say 2a times a minus 4 equals 0. Everybody comfortable with that?
Yes.
And now when I do that, you set them equal to 0. So of course, a is 0 or a is 4. Now let me make sure 0 makes sense to you guys. Look, if I let a be 0, 2 times 0 squared minus 8 times 0, obviously that is 0. All right, does everybody see what I'm saying on that now? Don't be confused by the fact that a was 0. Quickly.
Why do you have to put 2a down?
Because you're factoring out always the GCF. Every time, step number 1, is there a GCF? This time, notice I didn't divide anything out because there was a variable involved.
Okay, so you can't.
All right, you cannot divide the variables out. All right, here we go. Now we got a problem with number 32 because it's not set equal to 0. Every single time it should be set equal to 0. So in this case, you should be good enough just to simply say they really mean x squared minus 2x minus 24 is equal to 0. And now we're factoring that. And we're factoring that into x minus 6 and x plus 4. So 6 or negative 4. So now look at 34 for me. It's not set equal to 0, so that would be x squared minus 49 equals 0. So x plus 7, x minus 7 equals 0. So x is equal to, very good, plus or minus 7. All right, plus or minus 7. Any questions or concerns? You good? Anybody have any issues so far? Nobody? All right. Here we go. Now this one's kind of annoying. The reason why we say this one's kind of annoying is because there's lots of different factors here, and I'm trying to get 66. All right. So let's start with 4x
Can't you divide
and 4. What am I dividing everything through? Go ahead, tell me, please. 3. Okay. 16 divided by 3 was what again? I forgot. Oh yeah, that's right. Okay. So 27. We're gonna do what? 27, I need to do, break 27 down into 9 times 3. So let's see if this works out. 9 times 3, 36, and that doesn't work, right? Now, I need a kind of a bigger number, so I am going to check 27, because I notice 27 times 4, that's what? Too big. Do you agree? All right, because 27 times 4 is 108. And that would just be too big. So we know we can't use 4x and 4x. So now instead of that, we're going to try 8x and 2x, right? And now 9 and 3 again. Now I want the 9 so it multiplies by 8 because that gets it close to the 60s, right? So 9 there, 3 here. What do you know? 72 and 6. makes 66 if the 9 is and the 3 is negative. All right, is everybody with me on this? Okay, so now what? So now x is equal to, or x is equal to negative 9 over 2. Come on, think about it, please, for a quick second. Look carefully. All right, now, does everybody agree we got problems on 38?
Yes.
Yeah, because first of all, it's not set equal to 0. All right? So what I need to do now, be careful, listen to what I'm saying. I've got to create the quadratic first. So to create the quadratic, I just have to go ahead and multiply that out. When I multiply that out, that becomes 3x squared plus x equals x squared plus 6. Now that I've created that, I need to set it equal to what? 0. So to set it equal to 0, I move everything from the right to the left. So if I have 3x squared minus x squared, that would give me 2x squared plus x. And then what? Minus 6 equals 0. Everybody okay with that? So now you factor that down.
It would be 2x minus 3x plus 2.
Is everybody good with that? And so now you would just simply say x is equal to or x equals negative 2. Now tomorrow we're going to knock out the word problems. So your job tonight now is to go back and try the what? Try the odds. All right? If you have a little trouble or something, you can listen to the video from the other class. Again, I'm not expecting you guys to have too much trouble with that. I do want those of you guys who made a lot of mistakes on your test, fix them. That's your other homework. Correct your mistakes. All right? Hopefully after today's explanation and redoing all the factoring, that kind of helped you. All right? Hopefully it did anyway. That was the intention. All right? So tomorrow we will finish up this worksheet and do the word problems. Then Wednesday we're going to have a little, Thursday we're going to have a little review. And Friday we're going to take a little quiz on solving quadratics.
Sounds good.
All right, very easy. I think we still have a few minutes, right?
Yeah.
Get some.